Today on our show, we'll be talking with Dr. Arash Hakamian, who's the CEO of Dentulu, which is a very innovative, up-and-coming dental technology company, focusing right now on teledentistry, although they have other applications, which I hope to talk about in the podcast. So welcome, Dr. Arash.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate the invitation and very happy to be here with you.
No, thanks for the time. I know you're really busy these days trying to build your company and a lot of the applications you're building. So again, appreciate the few minutes you spend with me today.
My pleasure.
So you're a dentist, right? And I'm always intrigued. You're a clinician, but you're not running a technology company. So can you tell me a little bit about that journey, how you really got into from being a practicing dentist into building this company you have now?
Yeah, I'm a third generation dentist, mom, dad, brother, sister, everyone's in the dental profession. And I've owned and operated quite a few dental offices myself. And really was fascinated by the lack of um, implementation of all these amazing technologies that are all around us in dentistry. It always felt like we were years behind of the medical profession, and I have served as a advisor to product advisor for several companies over the last decade, and started getting more and more into the technology. I've been going to technology conventions, consumer electronic shows for years. And so I get to see a lot of these products that are coming out in the pipeline 5 to 10 years from now. And it's really interesting to see the development of, just the idea and the concepts. And then someone like me just going in there and talking to them and say, hey, we can really apply this in dentistry. Dentists would love to have this. And just getting involved in that realm, and that kind of just developed into more interest in technology, and finally just one weekend just flew up to Silicon Valley and found a really amazing developers convention that was going on, and started interviewing amazing developers from Silicon Valley, and really that's how Dentula was born several years ago.
It's interesting, being a technology guy myself, being thrown into all these geeks like me, right? At the convention, do you feel like a fish out of water somewhat, or do you have a technology bent, or does your family have a bent?
It's actually really interesting. So I'm kind of a junkie where I feel like I need to go to the actual source. So if I want
Right.
to sign for my office, I've gone to the sign convention. I flew to Las Vegas and went to sign convention. If I want, whatever it is, I usually go to the conventions. And so this time I had to sneak into the developer convention. Someone had to get me in there because it was developers only. And when I first started, I was, sitting in on classes about blockchain technology and AI and machine learning, and it was just completely a foreign language to me. But as with anything, you fight through that, and you write down all the keywords and buzzwords, and you go home and Google it and YouTube it, and we've gone through dental school, and
Right.
that was
It's funny, Rush, because with me, it was the reverse thing. I've been a technology guy and IT manager at dental software most of my life, right? And when I got into medical software and then dental software, I did the same thing reverse, right? I'd go to these conventions and I was a technology guy and I go, oh, I have to learn about medicine. I have to learn about dentistry. So
yeah.
I guess I can really appreciate what you went through. So that's really interesting. So moving forward, Dentula, we've talked about this when I first interviewed you. It was all about teledentistry per se, right? But our talks went in different directions, and you talked about Dentulu not just being a teledentistry company. So can you talk a little bit about what Dentulu is about, what your company is about, so folks can better understand the company itself?
Yeah, on a fundamental, very high level, Dentula is about keeping dental practices profitable, getting more patients, increasing the efficiency in everything that we do, decreasing our costs, and acquiring more patients, right? And then on the flip side of that, it was also a simultaneously we can increase access for patients, and we can give patients a better user experience, and really keep up to date with the expectations of patients. So really, where Dentulu started was recreating Uber for dentistry. And that was really our initial, flagship service was Uberizing dentistry, which meant, um, all the different things that come with Uber, having an app where patients can download the app and look for a dentist, hire a dentist or hygienist to come to them, be able to leave reviews, be able to order things on their phone, be able to do all those little cool things, like you can actually see the dentist coming to your location. And so that was really the initial run. Was, a lot of people are expecting things to come to them now, whether it's a
Right.
taxi or a haircut or a barber or a mechanic. There's mobile everything now. A masseuse that'll come to your house. And businesses were picking up on that and saying, hey, we have PPO dental insurance or PPO medical insurance. Why don't we just do this in house? Why are we having all our staff leave and sit in traffic and waste the entire day for a simple, checkup? So we started doing on site dentistry, and everyone had PPO insurance and everyone was covered and everyone was happy. And then we're just doing cleanings with simple mobile equipment. And then we realized, hey, why don't we actually use more hygienists than dentists? And if we have teledentistry involved, we can actually send out the hygienists with the dentist, sitting at home. So retiring dentists, new dentists who just got out of school, they have the power to oversee multiple people, who can go out on their behalf and actually do mobile dentistry by implementing teledentistry. So we started getting more and more involved in teledentistry. And this was 3 years ago. Google picked us up and actually collaborated a little bit with Google. End up and really Google was really a huge help to us, and we really appreciated all that initial support. And we raised a lot of money from dentists who invested in our company. And as we continue to add teledentistry features, we started realizing there's tools that can make teledentistry better. So an intraoral camera, right? We use it all the time. I've been lecturing about intraoral cameras for almost a decade now, but never thought, hey, maybe I should give one of these to my patients and let my patients take it home with them. And so I can see inside my patient's mouth from remote locations. So it started with mobile dentistry, evolved into adding more teledentistry features. Now we're adding more and more equipment and hardware that enhances teledentistry and mobile dentistry. And as we progress to the future, we're now adding cool things that enhance the whole experience, like
So,
reviews.
so as a technology guy, I'm always interested in the cool things, right? The things that are happening. So, can you talk a little bit? I think it's funny, isn't it? When people think of teledentistry, I think it's mostly getting on and doing a video chat, right? Just like telehealth. But as you're pointing out, there's many more functions. Can you talk a little bit about some of the innovative or cutting edge types of features and functionality that you might be implementing? Where's this whole thing going? The next two,
Yeah,
3, 4 years.
you're gonna need 8 hours for me to go into all
Well,
those.
let's start. Why don't you take your top three? Why don't we
Yeah,
start that way?
I mean, things that are exciting me is like, yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's not video conferencing. That's like 10 years ago. We're talking about emotional, um, emotional recognition in real time. So as I'm talking to my patient in real time, whether in the office or remotely, I can gauge to see how my patient is feeling. I can tell you if they're anxious, motivated, sad, upset, and I can kind of see which way the direction of the conversation is going. And this is really helpful in dentistry, in so many different ways. From decreasing anxiety to treatment planning to just management of your patients. So that's something I really am hugely interested in.
So let's talk
And
about that a little. It's fascinating. And
sure.
obviously, this probably came from you being a dentist thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I had a tool like this, right? Being a dentist. Talk to me about the state of where that is. Are there companies that do that? Are you developing it yourself? That's a very interesting type of technology. Talk to me a little bit more about the state of where that is.
Yeah, we're the only company that I'm aware of that is doing this, and we've been working on this for about a year and a half to be able to implement this type of technology, not only in the office in real time, but also, obviously remotely as we're talking to patients.
Sure.
So you should expect to see that by second quarter of 2021, and that's just one of a couple of exciting things. Artificial intelligence is another buzzword that's going around, but what does that mean, right? What does that mean in
Exactly.
dentistry?
And I'll tell you what, being in technology many years, that's very near and dear to my heart. People just throw around AI and machine learning like it's just a
Yeah.
commodity. So, in relation to what you're doing that you can talk about, can you talk about how AI will impact the industry and its uses? For example, what you guys might be doing with it?
Yeah, so we have basically launched the biggest campaign to put intraoral cameras in the hands of every single consumer, every single household. And we believe that our intraoral cameras, the mouth cam, is something that everyone should have as an educational tool, as an emergency tool. And the artificial intelligence is being implemented in a variety of ways. But in relation to something we're working on currently is for the artificial intelligence to be able to help identify early cancerous lesions, recession, plaque accumulation, um, identify a chipped porcelain, all those little things that can help a patient monitor themselves. It'll be able to help evaluate and monitor the movement of teeth for clear aligners. So if we're taking pictures every single day or every single week or every time we change an aligner, the artificial intelligence will be able to see the movement of the teeth and the location and be able to create a general trend and alert the practitioner if there's something wrong. So pathology is huge.
Well, it's
Pathology,
interesting. If I can just jump on that point
yeah,
about you're talking about oral cancers and things in the mouth. So when we first started talking, you were talking a lot of, we were talking about medical and dental, right? And crossing that bridge, which is so important, right? Um, Having the ability through AI to do something like that, then I assume that's kind of a good on ramp to then talking to their medical provider. Because obviously, if in a teledentistry visit through AI, you're finding some kind of issues in the mouth that are more medically oriented, bam, you should be able to bring in a medical practitioner to work with you on that, correct?
yeah, and Dentulu actually is a platform that allows for the medical doctors and the dentist to not only refer to one another, but also get medical clearances done, electronic referrals between the two, and then just collaboration. So you can, we have our intraoral cameras right now in a lot of medical offices, and so then when the medical office has a patient who might be experiencing some dental problems, the medical doctor can actually evaluate it and then bring in a dentist remotely to say, hey, this patient's having this issue. What's going on? And the reverse works as well. When dentists find issues that could potentially be related more to the medical side, we can immediately just bring in a doctor, HIPAA compliant, secure, safe, recorded, and exportable into the EMR system.
Arash, talk to me about those conversations with your medical counterparts. The reason I ask is because over the years I've done articles, podcasts about EHRs and oral systemic health, and a lot of it is from the dental side. But a lot of times, unfortunately, we don't see a lot of medical counterparts, medical colleagues talking heavily about oral health per se, right? So, but you had mentioned that you have use cases where you folks actually have oral cameras in medical offices. How do those conversations go? As the medical offices come to you, do you talk to them? How did you kind of bridge that gap so they recognize the importance of what you guys do? And I was interested in seeing where that comes from.
At the end of the day, Mike, these are all corporations, and everyone's trying to, be profitable and increase efficiency. And in the past, the insurance companies weren't paying out for a lot of these services. So now, with all the medical insurances, the dental insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, they're all paying for telemedicine. And so, even medical insurance. pays for some dental related issues. You're just not allowed to call it a dental related issue, right? So we call them dental implants in dentistry. In medicine, they call them bone stabilization prosthesis, right? So, so they pay for certain things, and so there's an incentive now for the medical doctors to actually work with the dentist. You want, for example, dentists want to make money from sleep apnea prosthesis, right?
Right.
Mandibular advancement devices. Well, now they work in collaboration with an ENT or with a medical doctor, and then they all work together in unison. So I think that's one of the motivating factors is patient acquisition, patient referrals, and increase in
Right.
potential income.
So,
But yeah,
I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
no, but I was just going to say, I think it's in the best interest of the patients as well, and it gives a better patient experience. So it speeds up the process for things that we need to get done. So dentists need to get medical clearance, and sometimes it delays the work. So having that collaboration with the medical side to give you an immediate medical clearance, just like a DocuSign within 24 hours, is helpful. And when they want to do heart transplants or anything that requires a dental clearance, they need us as well. So we can increase their efficiency as well.
So, looking down the road, let's kind of put on the crystal ball right here. If you could have a perfect world 5 years from now, 4 or 5 years from now, you look at what you're doing, teledentistry, other applications you're working in, and other companies. How do you see this whole virtual concept? If you look at the dental group practice DSO 4 or 5 years from now, how do you envision it? Because obviously, as a CEO of an innovative technology company, you're thinking ahead of most people, right? So, how do you see the world in dentistry, and what types of really cutting edge applications? Talk a little bit about little AI here and some of the emotional stuff, but let's kind of open up your mind and think about where you're going and where other companies maybe are going in this industry.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a heavy involvement of robotics, and you know, we're already having robots help with extractions and implant placement. These are have already been documented and they're being tested right now. They're not in clinical use, but they're being tested. I mean, the robotics are going to help out a lot in the front office. So you can imagine, you know, a receptionist, uh, you know, robotic receptionist that helps go over, you know, things with patients and get signatures and walks people to the right room. So I think robotics is really interesting. Um, but I also think that uh, as robotics evolves, so will teledentistry, because if a robot is going to help, you know, with a prep, so there's these bite blocks and bite guards that you can put in that actually have a drill that are attached to them, and someone is actually controlling that. So you can actually do your prep sitting behind a computer, and a robot will actually do the prep for you. So as this technology evolves, essentially, you know, eventually you will have a truck pull up outside your house with the, you know, the chair and the equipment. You get in, and someone can actually remotely perform the procedures. I think that's about 10 years away, but I can definitely tell you it'll be here within the next decade. Um, I think closer to the next couple of years, I think um, definitely mobile dentistry enabled teledentistry, right? So going to people's homes, um, instead of you going to the dentist coming to you, going to your business. I think this is going to, you know, see a massive influx of interest because it's cheaper,
Also,
more effective. Yeah.
let's talk about that real quick because it's interesting, isn't it? But we did have, not on the level we will have, but we did have mobile dentistry just as we had mobile telehealth and medicine before COVID. But then, of course, with COVID, people weren't going to homes anymore. So do you think the whole thing, the whole mobile dentistry will be kicked up on steroids more once we get through this COVID pandemic? Do you think things will change dramatically in terms of what happens in the home pre-visit?
I think everything's moving to the home, right? That seems to be the trend, right? You can shop without having to leave your home, and they'll deliver everything to you. You can now work remotely from home. You can see your doctor from home. You can get test kits sent to your house, and you can get your medications delivered. And there's no reason why you can't get a crown that fell off re-cemented, or have someone come to your house and do a cleaning for you. In fact, you know, you don't have to worry about cross cross infection and contamination because you already live with everyone there. So I think maybe for a short period of time there was maybe a slow dip in mobile dentistry because just people didn't know what to do. But I actually think the last couple of months have been a huge uptick in mobile dentistry requests and visits, not only to homes but senior living centers, hospices, and maybe not so much businesses because businesses are mainly working from home. But I think in all the other areas, there's been actually a huge uptick in interest, and I think it'll continue.
So we've talked a little bit previously about the idea of kind of, let's call it a one-stop shop. How there's, it's so confusing for a consumer out there, right? Trying to do healthcare in general. There's this application, this application, this application. What do I use? How do I pull it together? But yet you were telling me that one of your objectives as a company is to try to bring as much functionality applications as possible in one place, correct? Can you talk a little bit about, as you move forward, kind of how you see this and how you see Dentulu growing
Yeah.
as kind of a center point for these things?
Yeah, it's really this is the most exciting part for me is not only doing this for dentists but also for the consumer. So just having a go-to place where you get all of your dental needs taken care of. Whether you want to buy dental insurance, you want to apply for financing, you want to purchase membership plans, you want to look for a dentist, you want to get a second opinion, you want to you know purchase dental products. Why do we go to Amazon? Well, we can just purchase. I mean, there's so many things on Amazon, but how about a dental website where you get to see things that are actually recommended by dentists that are good for you? So we want to bring everything onto one platform, and also for dentists, the same thing, right? Right now, dentists and dental offices are having to pay 10 companies from scheduling to reminders to social media to patient education, electronic prescriptions, teledentistry, practice management software. I mean, I can go on and on. I know these are all digital solutions that can be integrated together under one platform, and really create an Amazon type place where people can go for anything dental related. And that's really where Dentulu is headed.
Well, I'm really excited about your forward thinking and your vision. I think, every company in technology should be really thinking ahead like that. And I really applaud what you're doing. Of course, along with that, lofty goals, you have a lot of challenges, technology challenges. And having been through that, having run software and technology companies myself, I can kind of empathize with probably what you're going through now and in the future. But you always have to have those goals in mind. And it's really, really great what you guys are doing. So, again, thank you very much for your time. And, the cool thing about doing podcasts and technology is that things change all the time, right? So I hope you can be a visitor again and, I can check back with you and see what you guys are doing and what your thoughts are. So again, appreciate your time very much and your
Thank
vision.
you so much, Mike. Yeah, we really appreciate it. We're very thankful for the warm welcome we've gotten, from all our dental industry partners. And again, this is a company made by dentists for dentists, and we want to continue to grow it as something that's constantly touching on the pain points and creating solutions based on based on the feedback that we get from the dental industry. So we appreciate you and everything that you're doing as well. And I very much look forward to giving you updates as the company continues to grow and expand.
Look forward to talking to you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mike.